Hi, it's Imogen. Thanks for clicking on this video. Today I'm going to be doing another plant haul. I think lockdown 2 here in the UK has just made me want to go out and buy loads of plants. So I have 11 plants to show you today, and these were all bought over the last month or so, from kind of mid-October to mid-November. So actually my lockdown 2 reasoning doesn't actually make sense because I bought these before lockdown 2. But oh well, let's go on with the video. So I have 2 plants to show you at first, both of which are from the same shop. Firstly, if you've seen my recent Peperomia video, you will have already seen this, but this is a Peperomia Frost. This was £2.99 and I bought it from Aldi. A few weeks ago they had plants as one of their sort of special weekly buys, and they had plants that I didn't have, so obviously I had to go and pick some up. Both this plant and the one I'll show you next came in little pots like these. I think these are about 6 or 7 centimetre pots. They're quite nice, they're just sort of white with a little wood rim, but the plants were planted directly into here. I don't know if it was just my shop, but they were in really damp soil, so I had to immediately take them out of there. And I've now got another plant in this pot, which I'll show you later in the video. But back to the frost. Luckily I had some spare plastic pots, so repotted this into one of those, and then I had a spare plant which is, yeah, in the shape of a hedgehog, but I do think it looks quite cute in there. As I said in my Peperomia video, I really like this frost. Its leaves are kind of a silvery green with like a bit of a shimmer on there, which I think is really pretty. Holding it up now and actually looking at it, it has a lot of new growth on there with some tiny little leaves coming through there. And I'm going to say that that's actually down to being under a grow light, which I've popped it under since I got it. So yeah, who knows, I might have to repot this again sometime soon. The second plant I got from Aldi is this, which is Tradescantia Nanouk. It still has labelling, so there you go, you can see that it was £2.99, and like the frost, it was in one of those tiny white ceramic pots, really soggy, kind of root bound. The leaves are really thick and quite sturdy, so it reminds me more of my cobweb Tradescantier, which I really like because it makes more of a sort of sturdy plant rather than a trailing one. Although saying that, I think I have seen people with trailing versions of these. Maybe if the stems get a bit longer, they can't hold themselves upright anymore. Like the Peperomia Frost, this has just been sitting under a grow light, actually on the little trolley behind me there. Obviously I've taken it off there for this video. For £2.99 with a pot, although not as nice as this pot, I'm really pleased with this plant, and again, it's growing quite a bit. The next plant is another one that I got from a supermarket, and I've made use of the pot that I got from Aldi to put this in. So this is a bear paw cactus, but I bought this from Morrisons for £3. It did also come with a pot, but I've done another switch around because I thought this pot suited it better. So I saw this bear paw cactus, it was the last one on the shelf and was looking a bit sorry for itself, but I knew what it could become. I have actually had bear paw cacti on my wish list for a while, and there's a variegated one that I've had in my Etsy basket for ages but just hadn't got around to buying. Even though this is a normal non-variegated version, when I saw it available for £3, I really wanted it. The reason I wanted a bear paw cactus is mainly because it's really cute and the name is adorable. It has these lovely sort of fluffy leaves that are kind of spiky on top, like the little claws of a bear. The spikes on top actually are quite sharp, which I wasn't really expecting. I don't know why, given it is a cactus. Maybe because it kind of looks fluffy, I thought they'd be softer. I know I'm saying cute a lot, but it's a really cute plant. I think these are quite slow growers, but I'm happy with it at the size it is anyway. The next plants are from garden centres. So I went to Ferndale Garden Centre in Colaston, and their houseplant section has got much smaller. We're going into winter, so maybe people aren't as interested anymore, and there was a big section separated out for Christmas decorations. Nonetheless, I of course managed to find the houseplants that they did have in stock and bought these 2 Syngoniums. I don't think they're the same variety because this one has green stems and the leaves are a bit greener, and this one has red stems and the leaves are more red, but I don't know enough about Syngoniums to say for definite. Before I forget, these were £2.99 each, and I think are in like 6cm, 7cm pots, so they are quite diddy. Syngoniums have been on my radar a little bit. There's some really pretty pink ones, but other than that I've never been super interested in them. But I spotted these two and I don't know, something just called out to me about them. This one with the red stems, which I put in a black pot, is a bit more sparse than the other one, but I really like the sort of burgundy and green, like mottled leaves on these, and it has really nice lobes, which I guess give the Syngonium the name of an arrowhead vine. This plant does feel really autumnal as well, which is really nice, and its growth pattern and leaf shape actually remind me of my alocasia zebrina. I don't know enough about botany to know if they're related in any way, but that's just my kind of novice opinion. The second one I've popped in a white pot, and this is one that has much more green leaves, but there is some orange in there as well. Actually, that orange one I think is just a dried leaf. So I don't know if, they actually are the same one and they change colour, but I can't see any red stems, so that's what's making me think they're different. So like the other one, it was £2.99. The pot just says Syngonium mix, so I'm none the wiser on what variety this is. This one actually does have more sort of rounded lobes compared to the other ones, which lobes are sort of more pointy. Hopefully you can see that difference. But yeah, any Syngonium lovers, please let me know. I'd be really interested to find out what I've got, basically. So on the same trip, I went to another garden centre, this time to Ward's Nurseries, and bought this absolute stunner of a begonia. Compared to all my sort of £3 plants that I've shown you so far, this one feels like a bit of a splurge, but it was only £4.99 and is a lot bigger than the other plants I bought. Like the Syngoniums, I don't know the specific variety of this plant. I think it's a Begonia Rex. If I know by the time that I'm editing this video, I'll put it on screen, but for now I'll just call it a beautiful pink and green begonia. The colouring on this kind of reminds me of a watermelon, with like the pink of the flesh of the watermelon and then the sort of light and dark green rind, but this looks more shimmery, sparkly than any watermelon I've ever seen, and I'm like in awe that nature produces plants like this, although I guess this is probably some sort of a hybrid, so nature with a bit of help. And now that I've got this, I can't believe I don't own more begonia. I've been keeping this in my greenhouse cabinet for now. I don't know if that's the right thing to do. I definitely need to do research on this as well as the Syngoniums. Next plant I didn't pay any money for. I didn't steal it. This is a plant swap. So this is a Pilia Caddieri, also known as an aluminium plant or the watermelon pilia. Look at leaves, I guess I can kind of see why it's a watermelon pilia, but I don't really get the name aluminium plant. So as I said, this is a plant swap. Someone posted it on my local Facebook group. I think she had quite a few propagations of this plant. And yeah, while I was out at the garden centre, she lived really nearby, so I went and picked it up. Obviously it is just one stem and it is looking a little bit spindly, but I reckon I could sort of pinch off the top or cut it and propagate to make a bushier plant. But for now, I kind of like the sort of spindly look that it's got going on. I don't know much about this plant. I think I had seen it online before, but not in person, but I'm always up for a swap for a plant that I don't have. The leaves kind of remind me of actually like a stinging nettle. It's kind of thickish and then it's got like spiky edges. I don't know if they're related at all, but that's what it reminds me of. Although obviously different colouring, as these are sort of marked in different colours. So not much else to say about this. It was free and is a bit leggy, but I still like it. So yet another Vitania, also known as a mosaic plant, a nerve plant, or drama queen plant, because when these want watering they just wilt like anything. Yeah, so I got this from my fave local plant shop called Gravel Pit, which I've done a tour of in a previous video. When the current UK lockdown was announced, obviously plant shops have to close because people don't think they're essential. I mean, I think they're essential, but maybe non-planty people probably don't. But anyway, Gravel Pit, obviously knowing that they had to close, decided to put 25% off all of their plants, I think to get them out of the door before shutting for a month. So I had to take advantage and support my favourite shop. So yeah, I bought this Vitania, which has kind of jaggedy edges and is quite veiny, and I knew it would do well in my greenhouse cabinet because Vitanias really like humidity. So I did kind of buy it with that in mind, but I do really like it in its own right. It is quite kind of squat and bushy at the moment, but if it's anything like my other Vitania, it'll soon grow a lot bigger, and I can see it's putting out quite a lot of growth, probably from the grow lights within the cabinet. That's really nice. It's nice to have a plant kind of thriving in its environment. So this plant would have been £4.50 full price, but with the 25% off it was £3.30 something, and it's in a 9cm pot with a decent number of stems on it. So I was quite happy with that. Now all the other plants in this haul have been fairly cheap. I did spend more on this one, but I hope you'll understand why. So that is this Alocasia Red Secret. Again, when I bought this I did kind of have my cabinet in mind, but I've never seen this in real life before, and I'm sure that the video isn't doing it justice, but the leaves are this gorgeous, like metallic-y, greeny red shade, which, I don't know, it's kind of gothic looking. Don't mind this orange leaf, I think it's on its last legs. Obviously you can see the colour and texture of the other leaves, which are healthier. So this is in a 13cm pot. It has two kind of chunky stem systems in there with quite a lot of leaves already there, and definitely new growth points, which is looking like it will be a big leaf, and I think there's the beginnings of another leaf coming on the other stem. Full price this would have been £21.50, but again with 25% off that makes it about £16, I think. I can't do maths super quick, but that sounds about right. And I think that was a fantastic price for a plant that I've only really seen online before, and a lot more than £16. I don't know what kind of category of alocasia this fits into, but I think the leaf shape is kind of like the dragon scale, or in that the leaves are quite segmented and almost like puffy. So far I've just been treating it like my other alocasias and keeping it fairly moist, and obviously it's getting the humidity from being in the cabinet, but I have only had this about a week or so I haven't really had to do any particular care for it yet, but I guess that means it's happy. So yeah, this is my Alocasia Red Secret. The final two plants I ordered online. So I ordered these from Cowell's Garden Centre, which is a family run garden centre up in Newcastle, and I did make an order specifically for plastic pots, which you'll have seen a lot of these plants in, but I couldn't help but buy a couple of plants as well. So we're coming back down in price now for this cute little pickle plant. This was £3.99. It didn't come with a pot. This pot is actually the one that my bear paw cactus came in from Morrisons, but I thought this pickle plant suited it a bit better. Again, this is another one that's kind of been on my radar, and when I saw that they had these tiny little pots, I decided to go for it. So this pickle plant, I think, is a succulent. The leaves are quite succulent, but they do have sort of spikes on, like a cactus. Although actually the spikes are quite soft. I haven't actually had a chance to sort of sit and touch this plant because I've been so busy with work and stuff. But I think it's called a pickle plant because the leaves look like pickles. It's a really cute name for it. As it's a succulent, I have had this on my windowsill where it's been getting a fair bit of sun, maybe a bit less over the last couple of days because it's been grey and miserable here in Sheffield. Hopefully it'll be alright. I did only get this a few days ago. Yeah, nothing much else to say. I'm quite happy with my little pickle plant. The final plant I have to show you is one that I've been lusting after for a while. So that is this jewel orchid. I've got this one in a glass dome to kind of keep it by itself and make sure that the humidity is high enough, but I'll take it off so you can see it. And there we go. So this is a jewel orchid, specifically a Macroides petola. This is a tiny little plant, but absolutely stunning. I bought this one from Cowell's Garden Centre as well. It was $14.99, which is really expensive for such a tiny plant, but I know that these are quite hard to grow and really slow growers, and it does seem quite reasonable compared to other plant sellers I've seen online. I think this was in like a 6cm pot as well, but it came in sphagnum moss, so it's not really comparable. But I took it out of there and put it into this dome, which I bought specifically for this plant, and put it into more sphagnum moss, and at the bottom I also put perlite and bark because this pot doesn't have any drainage, it's just glass. Although I'm being really careful about how much water I'm adding to this because it is really special. The leaves kind of have veining on them that looks like little lightning bolts, and it's quite irregular compared to, say, the veining on a Vitania. And if you Google jewel orchids, you'll see loads of pictures of all the different varieties, and I think that actually this one is one of the more basic varieties. So yeah, that's this jewel orchid. I think it's my favourite. Is it my favourite? Possibly. Do love their alocasia, but it's definitely the one that I'm kind of most afraid of dying on me, and I'm treating it with the most care. This is like a whole new frontier of plants for me. So yes, I'll put it back in its little glass pot. I'm trying to keep this quite warm, and I think they grow on like the forest floor, so don't want as much light, which is why I obviously haven't put it in the greenhouse because that's really bright. And that's all the plants that I've bought. Quite a lot, and I'm not going to total up how much I've spent, but given we're in lockdown, I'm not going out, I think it's fine. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching to the end, and I'll see you on Friday for my next video. Bye!